Good afternoon. I want to wish all of you out there Merry Christmas, and so thankful that you seen fit to tune into this broadcast. I love y'all very much, as I've told you before, and you might say, well, I don't even know you. How can you love me? And that's God. There's a lot of y'all that I comment back and forth with that I don't know you. If you was to walk up on me, I wouldn't know you, but I love you, and I sure do appreciate you helping out in this effort, and thanking you again for the comments, and especially for the shares. And I've got something on my heart again, and I'm thankful. I don't even want to try this without the leadership of the Lord, and I settled on this earlier, and I want to talk to you today about praying. And I know that's a real broad subject. Just communicating with the Lord. And I'm not any good at it. It's one of the many things that I struggle with on a regular basis. And I don't know if any of the rest of y'all are like me or not, but I don't do a good job at all in praying. I know in the Lord's model prayer that he taught the disciples there, one of the things in it, he said, give us this day our daily bread. So that tells me that we need to try every single day to talk to him. I'm ashamed to admit, but there's days and days that go by that I try, I think, and I may try more than one time a day, and then but I don't always get through, and he don't always let me know that I've got through. And I'm sure lots of y'all know what I'm talking about. But I want to call your attention to the 17th chapter of Acts. And I'll start in the 26th verse and read down through the 27th. He says, and hath made of one blood all nations of men, for to dwell on all the face of the earth, and hath determined the times before appointed and the bounds of their habitation, that they should seek the Lord, if haply they might feel after him and find him, though he be not far from every one of us. We want to talk about today feeling after him and finding him. We feel after him with that part of our inward man called the heart. That's where we feel at. And that's where we feel after him with that part of us. And I want to call your attention to the 27th chapter of Matthew. I'm sorry, the 26th chapter of Matthew. I don't know if anybody else has got a handle on this or not, but I always thought when Jesus talked to the Lord every time that the Lord heard him and answered his prayer. I mean, we're talking about somebody that healed the sick and raised the dead, and but this particular prayer lasted a while. And there's something else that always got by me, and I want to read it to you. In the 16th chapter of Matthew, in the 38th verse, Jesus said, my soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. And he told his disciples to tarry here, or you wait for me, and watch with me. And then it says he went a little farther, and he fell on his face, and he prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. And he cometh unto his disciples, and finding them asleep, and saith unto Peter, what, couldst thou not watch with me 1 hour? There's one clue we have, that at least he tried to pray, or he prayed for 1 hour. The disciples fell asleep. But notice this. He went away again the second time and prayed. And he said the same thing. He came back and he found them asleep again. And he left and went again and prayed the third time, saying the same words. Now, Jesus is talking to the Lord about the same subject. The first time he went, it took him an hour. Don't know how long he stayed the second time or the third time. But he prayed the same thing 3 times. If Jesus had to go pray about something 3 times, you can imagine then how many times you and me would have to go talk to the Lord. I know Jesus' heart was right. I know Jesus put the time in. I know the Father was pleased with his Son. He didn't have all that other stuff to get out of his way like I do. And he went and talked to him 3 times. The fact of the matter is we just don't, as humans, we just don't get there the first time a lot of times. I hear people talk about when they was lost, they went to the altar 1 time. And that done it. They got saved. I went to the altar over and over and over. It seemed like it took me forever to get to that place that I needed to be. I'm so thankful that I kept trying, that I kept going. And when you're truly going to pray, it don't matter about how long it takes. If it took Jesus an hour, there is no telling how long it would take us. But we just have to keep feeling after him. And he said that he wasn't far from any one of us. He's just right there, just waiting. And sometimes, we quit before we get all the way to him. We stop and we give up. And then we're going about our business, and then we maybe get around to trying again. But we don't need to give up. And if you're lost today, please don't give up. I beg you. Don't give up. I've got a comment from a lady last week. It says she's still lost. She's a grown woman. And she's been on my heart so heavy. And I beg you, if you're listening again this week, please don't give up. I don't care if it does take you an hour, or if it takes you 3 times, or 5 times, or 100 times. It don't make any difference. You keep seeking the Lord until you know for sure that he's given you peace. I thought about over in 1 Kings. How that Elijah had just got through calling down fire from heaven. He was the one that it used him for an example over in James when it says the effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. So in 1 Kings 18 and 41, Elijah told Ahab, he said, "Get thee up, eat and drink, for there shall be a sound of abundance of rain." It hadn't rained for 3 years and 6 months. And the Lord had already told Elijah that it was going to. He'd already let him know that he was going to hear that prayer, I believe. So then Elijah went up on the top of a place called Carmel. And I love this. he cast himself down upon the earth and put his face between his knees. He got low. He knew they needed rain. They was getting in a bad way. No telling how many people had already died. They were in trouble. And Elijah knew that. And God knew that. So he cast himself down upon the earth. He wasn't concerned about what he looked like in front of everybody else. He went up on this place called Carmel, on the top of it. And he put his face between his knees. And he said to his servant, he said, go up now, look toward the sea. And he went up and he looked and he said, there's nothing. And he said, he told him, he said, go 7 more times. And when he went the 7th time, he said, behold, there ariseth a little cloud out of the sea like a man's hand. Just a little bitty cloud after 7 trips. And then he said, prepare thy chariot and get thee down, that the rain stop thee not. In other words, it's fixing to come a gully washer. We don't always get there the first time. But we have to go back again. And I've noticed, I've already told you that I struggle in this department real bad. Another one of my failures here on earth. But sometimes I get to needing to talk to him really bad. And I'll try, and it won't get no worse, I'm liking. But I've figured out something. Yeah, even me. If I'll keep trying, sooner or later, I'll get through. I'll keep feeling after him until I find him. That's what I had to do when I got saved. And if you're lost, that's what you're going to have to do. Just make up your mind, I'm going to keep seeking until I find him. Be determined. Keep going. Go a little deeper. Go a little farther. That's what Jesus, we started out reading about Jesus. He went a little farther. Out away from everybody else. Maybe you'll have to do the same thing. But if you don't get through the first time, go a little farther. If you don't get through the second time, go still a little farther. And you just keep going farther until you go far enough. And when you do, he'll let you know that he has saved you. And us that are saved, sometimes we just need to go a little further. Sometimes we just need to go more times. And sometimes we just need to go a little longer. But ain't it worth it when we finally get through and we get to sit down and just have a little talk with him? Boy, after we finally get there, we sure ain't no hurry to leave, are we? Just want to sit around a little while and enjoy his presence. So, that's my message. Actually, no, it's not mine. It's his. He just used me to tell you about it. Don't give up. We need him really bad. Lost people, you need him real bad. And saved people, we do too. Just go a little further. You'll find him.